Thanks, David, for coming along and doing an interview with the alumni. And may I just say that you were the first person to join the alumni when it became when it went online, and doing that from overseas was a great privilege for us. Thanks for that. Now, how did you get into baseball, David?
Well, thanks for having me, Wardy. Obviously, I started late. Started 14 in Melbourne. I was a soccer player, and I guess soccer training got a little bit boring and wanted some more excitement. And my uncle introduced me to Sandringham, where he was playing, and I guess the rest is history.
Okay, and you're quite a good junior player. You made a number of junior teams along the way, state teams.
I started late, but I had an okay arm, and I started out as a pitcher. Didn't really know where the ball was going, just threw it as hard as I can. And David Hargraves for the state team, my first under 15 state team, I guess he identified me and gave me a chance. And he was a real confidence builder in my career. Told me I could play the game and told me to stay at it, and I thank you for that.
Okay, and not only after that you graduated, you played in the old ABL.
Yeah, I was lucky enough, obviously playing with Sandringham. Phil Dale at the time with the Reds put me on, I think I was on the junior reserves team, and made my debut in the 91-92 season, I believe, and that was a hell of an experience.
And you ended up playing with a couple of other ABL teams moving around before you...
Yeah, after the 90-91 season, I really got into baseball and really wanted to pursue a professional career. Wasn't quite good enough to play in the States. So, my uncle, who was in Australia at the time, suggested that I had to try out in Korea, and I definitely jumped at that opportunity. So, bought a one-way ticket, saved up my money, bought a one-way ticket to go to Korea, and had a tryout, and successfully signed a contract there.
And now, you were the first Australian to come across and try out for the KBO, and even though you have the Korean heritage, you would not have spoken a word of Korean.
No, pretty much born and raised in Australia, so didn't speak any Korean. In fact, didn't know I was Korean until first year of university at RMIT. When someone says you're Korean, I said, really? And so it was a big culture change. Dad and mom at home told the kids, we're in Australia, we're doing as Australians do, so we weren't allowed to speak Korean in the house. Obviously ate Korean food, but there was no Korean spoken in the house. So basically learned all my heritage and learned my Korean when I got to Korea.
So you've bought a one-way ticket, you've got nothing over here, don't really know anyone over here, you don't speak the language, and you're just trying out for a baseball team.
Well, that was the thing. That's my dream was to play baseball. It wasn't anything else. So I remember all the hard times that I went through, and I wasn't used to the food, obviously the language. Didn't have any friends here, but baseball was the one constant. I hate to use a cliche, but every time I got depressed, got down, I looked at my glove, looked at my baseball, and I said, "This is the reason I'm here." So that kind of inspired me a bit.
Okay, and from the tryout, you made the club. Which club were you?
Well, I tried out with the LG Twins, and that was a lengthy, long tryout. I got hurt midway. And I guess instead of just letting me go, they kept me on, and I did my rehab as well. And I was fortunate enough to sign with them.
You had a long career in the KBO, and you ended up with a 7-year career. And it wasn't just the LG Twins; you ended up changing clubs.
I started off with the LG Twins. I was with them for 5 years, and moved on to the Doosan Bears. Back then, it was the Obi Bears for 2 years. And I was fortunate to have good coaching and good connections by then to allow me to transfer to another team.
And being the first Australian to come across, you've actually opened the door. We talk about pioneers, and we've interviewed a lot of guys on here who are pioneers of our sport. You actually are the first Australian to play in the KBO, and you opened the door for a number of other guys.
Well, that's a funny story, because when everyone thought I was just Korean. So when I first got here, people said, what school did you go to? What university did you go to? They thought I was Korean. And so when I told them I was an Aussie, they were like, Australians don't play baseball. So there was an immediate kind of a disrespect for me. You know, you don't know how to play baseball. You're from Australia. They're not a baseball country. So each time I heard that, fueled me more. You know, I wanted to show them how good, you know, Australian was. And I had good coaching from Sandringham. Dan McConnon, Peter Giles really helped me, really guided me well, and prepared me well for the trip here.
Now, when they finally worked out you were Australian, they've actually ended up changing the KBO rules. So.
Yeah, well, because my parents were Korean, or are Korean, if you have Korean heritage, you count as a local. So I went past my first 5 years with that. In 1998, when they officially changed the rule to two foreigners per team, that was the particular year I went to Doosan Bears, and so I signed a player's contract, and they saw my passport and it was Australian. They said, "Well, hang on, you're a foreigner." I said, "Well, hang on, what about the 5 years I played before when you weren't allowed foreigners?" So, yeah, it was a bittersweet kind of end to the career, but you know, I can only blame myself. Should have been better.
Now, there's always a funny anecdote. You always mention that when you first got here, not speaking a word of Korean, but looking Korean, and you've always been known as David.
Yep.
But you got here and they would call you by your
My
Korean name,
yeah.
and you would never answer anyone.
Oh, that was a funny story, yeah. We got our uniforms first day, and my Korean name's Kim Taemin, and I've been answering to David for back then 21 years, you know. And so a friend of mine, or an older player, a veteran player, you know, called me by my Korean name, and I just walked by, you know. Taemin, I just kept walking. Taemin, he shouted at me, you know. So I looked back, and he was angry in a polite way. So I must have ruffled some feathers that way. But that's culture.
That's it. Now, after that, you've finished playing, and you went into scouting, and you've been there quite a while.
Well, you know, when I signed with the Doosan Bears, and I worked out, I trained, and I hit, and I took BP, took fielding. They always kept me on in hope that, you know, the rule would change. But when when you're not getting game time and you're losing your touch a bit, and I was getting on, Howard Norsetter gave me a call. He kept tabs on my career, and he said that the Twins were opening up in Asia and needed a scout, and offered me the job, and I thought it was a no-brainer.
And you've been doing. How long have you been with the Twins now?
This will be my 16th year.
16, and you do the whole Asia area Korea.
Yeah, I started off just doing Korea. Well, that was a funny story. How he said, "Kimmy, you're doing Korea. You'll do high school, college, and the pros. In Japan, you'll do high school, college, and the pros. In Taiwan, you'll do the high school, college, and the pros." And I told him, "That's everything?" He goes, "Yeah, pretty much." So you could say I pretty much do the Pacific Rim.
Not like Howie to give out plenty of jobs.
No.
And look, people probably don't realise how much work you do for the scouting. But it's not just scouting for the Twins, because we know whenever Australian teams come over here, you act as a liaison for them out of your own time. You act as an advanced scout, you know, for all the guys. You're still Australian, you've still got your accent, and that doesn't cause you any issues over here?
No, you know, I think wherever you go, it depends on how you present yourself. And if you're a hard worker and you don't, you know, ruffle too many feathers, I think whether you're Australian, whether you're American, whether you're, you know, French or Italian or anything, I think people start to realize, you know, who you are and not judge you by your personality. With regards to the Australian guys coming over, yeah, you know, I'm Australian passport, I'm legally Australian, and when the Aussie boys come over, I feel I'm obligated to at least help those boys out.
And it's not just the teams. I mean, for the rest of the scouts that come over here, you're nothing but a world of help. From plenty of injuries that have happened, plenty of situations, let's say that you're able to extricate a lot of guys out from.
Politely.
Yeah. Some guys more than others you tend to help, but I know everyone's really appreciative of all the work you do for helping.
It's look, I wish I'd made billions of dollars out of the game and put back that way. Unfortunately, I didn't. So if I can't get it out of my wallet, at least I can do it out of my body and do it physically. Whatever I can put back into the game to help Australian, that started off my career. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. And you were back in Australia last January. You went back to scout a little bit, and you actually went back to your old club and put some time in with them as well.
Yeah, that was a bit of an adventure. I didn't realize you had to get all these certificates and yeah, to work with kids, but that was good. That was good. I hit some BP, helped the kids out. But again, something to put back into the game, put back into Australia, put back into Sandringham that helped me start my career.
Yeah, so just for those that don't know, you were back for how long back in Australia?
This time around, it was about a month and a half.
And you just went down to Sandringham, offered your help, and said, "Hey, look, I'm here. I'll hit some ground balls. I'll do some coaching and all that sort of stuff."
Yes.
After you went through the rigorous things of playing 7 years of pro ball and being a scout for 16 years to get your level 1 accreditation.
Oh, I hope I got that. If you're looking at this, Huber, I'm still waiting for it, Justin. Thank you. Thanks for the call.
Yeah. But and it's not just that. The guys that still play over here, I know you've been a big help to guys like Chris Oxspring and Travis Blackley and that when they get over here. It's an Aussie accent to hear. It's someone friendly who can speak both languages and help us, all of us, with the customs and that. And cannot thank you enough. And for a true pioneer from Australian baseball, opening up the Asian market, David Kim, alumni member, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Wardy.